My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Hot Fuzz. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I like Shaun of the Dead. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's well acted, it's very well directed, but let's be real. Hot Fuzz is better in every single possible way. So let's begin by talking about the cast. And Simon Pegg is terrific in this movie. Like, he doesn't actually get the credit he deserves for his performance here because he is playing against type. He's typically the funny sidekick in movies, but here he proves he can carry an action movie. And he does a great job at that while still being funny while needed. So he just fully delivered for this movie, and I thought Nick Frost did a great job. He's very funny and very entertaining whenever he's on screen, and I like their friendship throughout this movie. Because at first, you can tell Nicholas is not a fan of Danny's antics, to put it politely, but he does get won over by him, and they do become genuine friends, and I liked seeing that growth throughout. Jim Broadbent, I thought, did a pretty decent job. He's always entertaining, but Timothy Dalton gives the best supporting performance in this movie. He is so over the top and so funny and so scummy, and he knew what kind of movie this was and just fully delivered. Like, just really, really great work from him here. Olivia Colman, I think, is quite funny here. Paddy Constantine and Ralph Spar are pretty funny as well. So the main cast is really great, but even the supporting characters are funny. Like Bill Nye, Martin Freeman, and Steve Coogan are in this movie for like 3 minutes, and they're memorable. They still stand out. So every performance, no matter how small, is great in this movie. And it's a comedy, and good news, the movie is hilarious. I have watched this movie so many times, and I still laugh throughout. One of my favorite lines is, "You've got a mustache." "I know." "When's your birthday?" "February 22nd. "What year?" "Every year." I love when, what's her name? When Simon Pegg goes to see his ex-girlfriend at the beginning, and there's these two characters named Bob and Dave, and I think they just say hello, but the way they say hello cracks me up every single time. Just hello. I can't explain it. You just have to watch the movie. The Romeo and Juliet play is quite hilarious, and then it ends with love me, say that you love me." Just, I love the one dude who constantly says, "Nobody tells me nothing." Just, this movie is so funny throughout, and I love the characters' names and how they reveal everything. Like, George Merchant is a businessman. Leslie Tiller works at the flower shop. But then all the bad guys have names like Simon Skinner, Mr. Treacher, James Weeper, Philip Shooter, and Michael Armstrong, who was the big Yop dude. Armstrong, big arms, Yop. Anyways, their last names make it so obvious in hindsight, but what's really funny about this gag is how The only time Nicholas actually looks at someone's name in detail is Peter Ian Stakel, Pistakel, and he thought it was a joke, so he doesn't bother looking at or paying attention to anyone else's names. So that's great, and I love how almost every line of dialogue comes back into play later on in this movie. I love how almost every joke comes back into play. Like the swan and how he's looking for it, and then at the end of the day, it's what stops James Broadbent's character from escaping. He's a doctor, he can deal with it. And then later at the end of the movie, you're a doctor, deal with it. When Nicholas gets to the hotel, and she's just like fascist, and she's doing a crossword, and he's like hag. That's a great joke, but I love how it comes back later on in the movie. Every line in Simon Skinner's introduction, I'm a slasher of prices. I gotta kill the competition. And whenever they go into the one shop and she's like, any luck catching those swans? It's just the one swan actually. Any luck catching those kilos? It's just the 1 kilo actually. And how that actually ends up being a revelation for Nicholas. Like, this movie is so smartly written. It's so airtight, and like, it's just an impressive movie to rewatch and catch how much setup and payoff there is throughout. But let's also address the elephant in the room and the reveal that most of the town is behind the murders is actually a terrific twist. It really is, because it's really funny how Mr. Blower got killed for being a bad actor, how his girlfriend got killed for having an annoying laugh, how Tim Messenger got killed for his spelling errors. And like throughout the movie, they make you think it's going to be this really boring and generic plot regarding land, but it's actually much more memorable like this. But at the same time, it's really dark and it has real emotional weight to it. Like when Nicholas falls underground and he sees all the people who have been killed for such stupid, nonsensical reasons, it does feel dark. And lots of times, me and the brothers will just say, for the greater good, as like the punchline to a joke. And I also like how this movie can be infuriating, because Nicholas is the one smart person in a town filled with idiots. No one believes him. Nobody is listening to him. And he's so obviously correct, so it really makes for some good tension at times. And the movie is incredibly well directed by Edgar Wright. Like, this guy's got so much style, and I love how slick this movie is. The editing has so much personality, and there's a few scenes that really stand out. Like, I love when Nicholas sleeps for the first time in this town, and then just cuts to daytime and the King's song starts playing, and I don't know, just the feel of that moment feels so right. I also love how when Nicholas and Danny are watching Bad Boys 2 and Point Break, it keeps cutting to George Merchant getting killed, but the way it's written, the way it's edited, just makes for a very funny moment. The movie is incredibly well shot. The sound is so good. Like, almost every bit of sound has an impact to it. The movie is also really well paced, it's filled with energy, and the action is good. Not great, but it's good. It's exciting enough, And I love how this movie knows that it's an action movie. So, like, the camera movements, the bits of dialogue are very intentional, and it just makes for a unique experience. I also do like how this movie is kind of horror at times. Like, the kills are surprisingly brutal, and when Nicholas comes into town at the end of the movie, it kind of feels like a Western movie. So you can feel a bunch of influences throughout this movie, and I love the soundtrack. Lots of the kinks in this song, but in this movie, but it fits. It's really well utilized throughout, so I do love this movie. But I have never liked the ending. This movie is about 5 minutes long, and I've never liked the Danny fake out. At that point, I feel like the movie should have ended, and the next few minutes just always seem unnecessary. Like, whenever I rewatch this movie, I always dread that ending because it's just so obviously bad and just a very bad decision to put it there. But I still love this movie. It's very smartly and tightly written. It's incredibly well directed. The movie is hilarious. Everybody gives a great performance, and it's just such an entertaining movie. I have watched it so many times, and I'll watch it many more times. So despite the ending, I'm still going to give Hot Fuzz a 9 out of 10. Okay, Hot Fuzz, have you seen it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.